All right. So, Whole Health Club, I'm Chase.
And Sam,
We're back again with a little bit more here. And today we're going to talk about what is fitness really? And that's kind of an odd topic because everybody likes to come out and say there's one best way to move or my way of training is the best and it's going to get you the best results and this and that. And we take a little different approach, kind of like we do with nutrition. So, Sam, I'm going to open it up to you first because I know, honestly, I mean, we'll be very real here. Sam's very up and down with fitness and likes
Yeah.
to do a multitude of things. So, I'd love to hear your opinion of like what is fitness to you and why is it important?
yeah, and I think that's a good point. I think a lot of times with kind of fitness culture, gym culture, fitness gets a little bit misconstrued of that. If you're not waking up every day at the same time with an identical routine, with a very envisioned goal and sets and reps and weights and calisthenics, then it's not fitness. And while I love that piece and I've been deep into that lifestyle before and I've been further from that, if I let my like any other human, let my professional life take over
Yeah.
or family life, use that as an excuse, if you will. But to me, fitness is like a blanket way to like be able to push your body to increase your heart rate, get you breathing heavy. I don't really care what the method is. It's, fitness is obviously not sitting around watching the TV,
Yeah.
but it could be going, like, honestly, it could be going on a walk with your family. Like, that could be a piece of fitness. It could be a lot of other things. For me personally, the, I guess, gamification, the idea that there could be a game. So, like, when we go play basketball, when there's a score to be kept,
When you can win.
yeah, when you can win, I really like that. And I have a hard time, I think, in different stages in my life of saying like, hey, I'm going to wake up and creating this winning scenario of like, I'm going to complete these reps or I'm going to go till failure. Whereas if I go play basketball, I'm not even thinking of the, activity I'm doing. I'm just playing so hard. Or now that we've kind of made the move down here to Costa Rica, like to me, going into the ocean and, boogie boarding or learning to surf or swimming, those things to me are also fitness. Going on a great hike, in the mountains are fitness. And I think certain personality types and certain people are going to recognize and find what their fitness is to them. And and to me, that's a much easier one if you aren't the most routine person. If you could do good mental gymnastics and talk yourself out of it, that's easier. Whereas if it's something you inherently love, not for fitness's sake or not for staying in shape's sake, for those people, I think it becomes much easier for me to say like, hey, I'm gonna go down to the ocean and swim around and boogie board for an hour,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be great for me. I'm gonna jump in the pool and hit a couple laps, and that's gonna be great for me. Or, let's go play a game. Let's go, play a little mini soccer game. Let's go play basketball or do something like that. So to me, it 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 is moving your body, but I do think the one caveat I'll put to saying just any movement is that for me personally, it has to be movement that makes you feel like you're exerting yourself.
Yeah.
Like I need to have
Challenges
my
your
heart
body.
rate. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
heart rate, breathing. So I think there's that side of fitness that doesn't get talked about enough in kind of, especially in the gym world, especially when, it's by gym owners because of course we want you guys into the gym, and I think if somebody's not capable of doing those activities they like, they should start with a routine.
Yep.
They should start with a guided plan. But if you're just like, hey, I got a little extra dad weight on and, I need to get back into a routine, I could do that by getting back into the gym every day.
Yep.
Probably would be a great idea. Or I could also say, I'm going to put this physical exertion in my routine regularly, like going down to the ocean. So to me, that's a big piece for those that struggle. Like, man, I just really don't like the gym or I don't like this. It's like, well, what are the other activities that you enjoy? And maybe go start pursuing those again. And if you can't, come into the gym so we can get you to the point
Yeah.
where you can pursue them. But to me, that would be fitness. Heart rate up, breathing heavy with some activity. But I prefer, to keep score, to have it blend in with almost disguise.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like fun, right?
Yeah.
And I'll kind of feed off that a little bit first, and then I'll give kind of my opinion of it. But I always like the idea that you challenge your body, and it is good. Even if you don't go into a gym setting, it's a good idea to have some sort of accountability buddy, coach, somebody, because if you don't have consistency or that set time where you're showing up, sometimes that set time never comes. And so it's easier when we have this frantic I'm just going to do it here, I'm going to do it there. It doesn't become as consistent sometimes. So having somebody that's going to come and message you, send you a workout to do, make sure that you're actually showing up and doing it. I, a lot of times, have my clients actually text me when they start working out. I don't really care what they do. I'll write them a workout if they need it, but even if they're like, hey, yeah, I went for a run. Awesome, text me when you start. Right? It's just that little bit of accountability. So to that piece, even if you are not a schedule person, that's totally fine. You can fit fitness in your life, in my opinion. But it needs to get done still. So going on to like how I feel about fitness, because obviously I'm coming at it a little different way. I was a strength coach first, moved into the private side. I've been a trainer for years and years and years. Now obviously I own a couple businesses, own a hotel. So still get to train a lot, which is great. But I am a structured routine person. I have to do it at the same time every day, but within that, I do a different workout every single day. Different style. I love HIIT style. I love strength training. I love plyometrics. I love cardio. So I'll do either like break it up in days, or I'll do different series where we do different things like that. And I've been doing that since sixth grade. Now that has, if you're looking for an outcome, in my opinion, that's how you have to do it. If you're looking for, I want to have a six-pack, I want to be able to run up and dunk, I want to be able to do these different things, you need to have a more regimented routine. If you're like, look, I just want to live healthy, feel good, well, you just move every day. Challenge your body, make sure we're moving, and spend a little less time Netflix and chilling. But yeah, that's kind of my approach is like, yes, have a set routine, make sure if you have this overall goal. So if you're like trying to lose weight, right, you should have a set routine in my opinion. You should have a set meal plan, set fitness routine. That's going to help you get to your goal more effectively. But that doesn't mean your set routine can't be the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I always try to hit as a trainer is one of the first questions I ask any of my clients is, what do you actually like to do?
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I don't remember, it kind of went around for a while, but people always say like, oh, well, you're going to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Right.
You absolutely don't have to. Like, so if you're waiting for you to fall in love with fitness before it becomes a routine or before it becomes a part of your lifestyle, don't. It may never, ever happen, and that's okay. Loving things and doing things are two different things, right? And we need to make sure that we are doing the things that will make us love ourselves and feel good, even if we don't feel good in that moment.
Yeah.
I told my sister that the other day. She's on this little health and fitness journey right now. My wife, Paige, is coaching her up. And she's like, I just don't like it. Okay.
Yep.
That's okay. You don't have to. Some people will love it. Some people will not. Some people will like a fitness challenge. Some people will like playing sports. Some people will just be like, it sucks all the time. I don't enjoy it. That's okay.
Yeah.
Do it anyways.
Yep.
Find your thing that you can bear or tolerate and do it.
Yep.
Because your body needs to move. It's made to move.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that brings up a big, a couple things for me, which is like, it's weird that in the healthy category, right, and this goes for food or fitness, but since we're on the topic of fitness, I think Chase said it like a tough love coach right there. Like, you don't need to love it, just do it anyway. And I think that's, I think there's wisdom behind that, and somebody may not hear it that way. But what I would argue is, do you love every aspect of your job?
Right.
But you need income. Do you love every aspect of having to care for your kids? Do you like having to make a meal and then they don't want it, and then knowing that you're a good parent and they need to eat, that you have to make another one, and you do it? And I think it's weird or interesting, not even weird, I guess, that our society can take those things, those other pieces of our life, like the need to earn income or, the need to care for others, and be able to do things that don't make sense. I don't like laundry. I can find very few people that enjoy doing laundry.
Yep.
But we understand we can't just go around in dirty clothes.
Yeah.
And so I think that's an interesting thing for me. And it goes back to what Chase was saying with fitness. Like, you don't have to love it, to understand why it's good. But that'll bring me to my second point that Chase was bringing up. When he was talking about outcomes, this or that, it's really what's the why? Like, why are you starting fitness? Because certain things like, if you want to be a millionaire, there are certain things you have to do to be a millionaire.
Yep.
It's not going to accidentally happen.
Yeah, it doesn't just land in your mattress.
Yeah, right. If you want to earn a good living,
Yeah.
you could just do what you enjoy doing
Yeah.
and earn some money. But to be a millionaire, to hit that, different outcome is great. To be healthy, you can move on a daily basis. You go for a daily walk, you're fine, do a little stretch, and you're good. You want a six pack? That is the millionaire. That is doing something above and beyond.
Not going to go win the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. And so I think that's very interesting to do that. And then the last point I think that, I want to drive home that I believe Chase was getting at is regardless of what you're doing, and this is something I, constantly struggle with, but it requires consistency. And that's going to be the basics. So if you want to work out in a gym every day and do plyometrics, you have to be very consistent to get the outcome. But for me, something I really, want to pursue is I want to pursue surfing. And I saw this awesome TikTok the other day, and this guy was took a picture of himself, and he was like, I'm going to surf for 45 days straight.
Okay.
And sure enough, at the end, not only was he significantly more tan, which makes people look better because he's out there. Yeah, you look better tan. But you could see his back grew. He was in better shape, and he was just visibly happier. But it wasn't just because he surfed. It was because he surfed consistently.
Yep. Consistently felt better. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like walking or doing any of those things. And so a lot of what Chase was saying, I think, really does hit home. If you're consistent, that's going to be a big piece to this, regardless of what it is. But it also really is dependent on why you're doing it and what outcome you're searching for. And so, if you have a very strong why, for me, I don't necessarily like regimented fitness, but I've been lucky enough to run a marathon because it was a game. I had to do it. I had to finish it. So.
What he's speaking of is when we moved to Colorado, we challenged Sam. We made him not do anything for 6 weeks, and then we gave him 30 days to train for a marathon. And basically what we were showing is, can a plant-based person go from couch potato to a marathon that quickly? Now, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody.
No,
it was
either.
not fun, horrible by the last couple miles.
Yeah.
But he made it. He accomplished a marathon with only 30 days of training, with 6 prior weeks completely off of every type of fitness.
Well, it just allowed me to make it a game, right? So I didn't necessarily like the training aspect, right? But I knew I wanted to finish that, and so it's that was how I was able to get up and run, as opposed to for me, it's really hard to get up and want to just work out. And if you see me keep looking up there, or work out, little studios up there. And it's really hard for me to just work out every day without but what am I winning? And it's well, you're going to be healthy. I'm no, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But what am I winning? And so that's to me where I can do better. And I'll still do those regularly, but that's where I can do better surfing, or, making it a run, or signing up for a thing, or getting in a league, because then I'm obligated to do that because I want to be better at that outcome.
Yeah.
Whereas better at fitness is a never-ending journey. I guess unless you're a CrossFitter, the end journey is winning the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, but then what do you do?
Right.
You keep going.
Yeah, you just keep working out.
Keep working out.
I think there is those two mindsets, and I've been really into a personality book lately called Surrounded by Idiots, and it's an awesome book to just kind of explain why we approach these things so differently, yet both have the same mission for our gym. We want people to move, and we want them to be healthy.
No.
Yet Chaser is going to wake up damn near every day and have some sort of set routine, whether that's calisthenics, weights, plyo. It doesn't really matter. There's something set.
Yep, same exact time every day.
Yeah, where on those days I might be hey, I intend to work out, but I'm actually going to go to the ocean now and surf. Or I'm going to go, the other day I just went and ran on the beach because I was well, this is going to be fun. Let me go explore, my beach. And so I was could I tell you what time I ran? No. Can I tell you how fast I ran? No. Can I tell you I was drenched in sweat running on the beach? Yeah. And it was great after.
Yeah.
So I think those are some different ways to do it, but it does rely on outcomes. Now, one thing I think I'll pose is, and kind of get your thoughts is, what's an approach you've seen be effective when somebody's life, I can say that because my life was surrounded by sports when I was younger. Uh-huh. What about somebody's life that they didn't grow up surrounded by activities they enjoy that did make them move, that did, maybe they were a musician where moving wasn't a big part, or they're a gamer, and that's the culture they grew up on. What would be one of the best ways to, help them find what fitness is to them?
I would say try as many things as you can. Honestly, do a bunch of either free weeks or one-day passes, or try all the different modes, right? Try out a personal trainer, try out group fitness, try out spin, go for a walk, go for a run. Literally just try everything. Join a sports league. There's plenty. I promise you, I played in an adult men's league rec basketball. You'll be okay. Yeah. I promise you, nobody's out there being, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. You'll be good. So just try stuff until you find one where you're hey, I would actually enjoy doing that again, right? Even if it's just one more time, I would enjoy doing that again. Go try things, especially if you haven't been exposed to a whole bunch of things. Mm-hmm. And I would say try things for the lowest cost possible at first. Because the other thing I was going to bring up is kind of the new age fitness equipment craze. You know, it was workouts at home on tape for a while, and now we have all these different machines and mirrors and bikes and all these things that we can do. So I'm going to bring that up later, but I would just try a whole bunch of things and find a community. I would tell you, like, one of the biggest reasons I can show up every single day is because my wife is going to be there ready to work out, asking me what the workout is. Every single day. And if I don't have it written by the time about 10 minutes before our workout, she's not a happy camper. Right? So she's one of my biggest reasons why I show up every day. Again, talking about TikToks, there's always that one that's like, you know, I wanted to skip the gym today, but I got a hot wife. Right? Can't do it. I can't do it. So she's waiting there for me. She's part of my community. Sam, Kayla, all of them are part of my community. We even Zoom into our gym almost every single day because we want to work out with the trainers as best we can. We do it via Zoom, and that's an accountability piece. Obviously, yeah, we love talking to each other, hanging out, all of that stuff, but it's, hey, where you at? You're not on Zoom. Hey, what's going on? People literally type in why they're not going to make it. Ollie wasn't sleeping, right? So we just got him down. We'll be there in an hour. But everybody gives their reason why they're not there or shows up, and we get to hang out and work out as a community. So that'd be kind of the last piece to that, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and to round, I kind of think this topic out would be, Chase mentioned, you know, try a lot of things, like try a personal trainer, try group classes, try all these things. I'll tell you, when I became a personal trainer, one of the biggest and most fun things for me was the social aspect. I'm a very social person, you know, very extroverted, and so getting to talk with people every day, you know, and I've had a lot of clients that I know for a fact that they showed up to be able to just have this conversation, and the working out was there, and it was more like that was the byproduct, but I enjoy this environment. I leave happier than I started, and yeah, I have to work out in between. Cool. That's a thing. And a lot of our clients, they show up at the gyms, like we have a whole crew that's been with us, you know, I don't know, maybe 4 years now.
4 or 5 years, yeah.
And they all show up together, and they come to the events together, and they go to the hikes together, and like that, like they're coming to maybe be social, and then the byproduct is the movement.
Yeah.
And so
big group of them just ran a Tough Mudder. Didn't even wasn't even a gym event or anything like that, which we run regularly. But it was, hey, they're friends now. Another couple went and another 2 people went and ran a marathon the other day. Like, again, it's really cool when you find your little crew and you can start doing these things that challenge you.
Yeah, and one, I want to now shift because I think we've given you guys some good nuggets on how to get into fitness and what this means and the different, you know, avenues. But one, I'll be unapologetic about this. I hate them more than anything. Workout equipment in your home. It is the dumbest thing that's ever existed. And you guys can come at me all you want. I don't care if you have dumbbells in your home and you do this. But if you buy a $2,000 bike with a screen on it and think that's going to be better for fitness or that's going to be the motivator, it's not. Now, if you have one and you're successfully doing it, hell yes, good for you. But don't buy that bike thinking that's going to create the motivation. It's absolutely not. And so let's be clear, that product existed before you had to buy. I'm calling Peloton out, fine with it, because I think it's an overpriced product that sold people on a fantasy. And how many of those, speaking of TikToks have we seen where they go, I bought this thinking I was going to use it, and then it flashes to what they actually used it for, and it's a clothes hanger. And they're just hanging their clothes on it. And now they're out. And now every day it's a reminder of your lack of commitment that you did to buy that thing. And it's not new. Chase mentioned mirrors. Like, bro, that was a 90s trend. Every single person, at least in the Midwest of the United States that I grew up in, if you go to their basement, well, Jane Fonda tapes, but if you go to their basement, they have some sort of shitty treadmill, some sort of bike that they forgot it was in their house. It doesn't exist. In fact, I had one of my best friends, Jake, if you're seeing this, we would go to his house every day, and I don't know if his parents used it, so I'm not calling you out, Cheryl, if you didn't, but he had a living room. And so there was a couch, there was 2 chairs, there was like a little bench. We would all sit in there. We would always hang out. And then literally one of the pieces of furniture was a bike that you could sit on and you could relax. I'll tell you, I never saw a single person get on that bike and actually use it for the bike.
It was real dusty.
Right. No, it wasn't dusty because it was a chair. It was our extra chair. And so I really do, you know, have a bone to pick that this technology piece, unless you're like, you know, somebody super into technology and that's your enjoyment and you want to do that, cool. But I do have a very big problem, especially with these companies acting like they're fitness companies when really they're just a product that they're trying to sell to you and you know, get you on a subscription model that you're not going to use. It reminds me very much of how Planet Fitness operates. Buy our membership, $10 a month, and then make sure you don't show up. And so, to me, you know, and maybe Chase has a few different opinions on where some value could be there, but I'm just really not a big fan of people that are unmotivated or, haven't found their niche, buying that piece of expensive equipment, thinking it's gonna change the thing.
I mean, it's the same. I have quite a few thoughts on this as well because I agree with Sam, but I also think again there's 3 to 5% of people that are self-motivated that it can be a great thing for. But that's about it. My family is perennially buying new fitness equipment, new pieces, new this, and it gives you 2 weeks to 2 months of motivation. Then all of a sudden life gets hard and you're gonna drop it and forget about it and then probably not come back to it. So I know that game all too well. But it's like the person who goes and buys all the fitness gear before they ever sweat once.
Yep.
Right? It's like, okay, I spent $1,000 on clothes because I'm gonna have the nicest outfits while I'm in there,
Yep.
and then I never actually get in the door.
Yep.
Start it first. Start it with the ragtag stuff that you have. Start moving, and we actually are creating this kind of off a blog that I have, and it talks about how back in the day it was like you had a pull-up bar. Most people, right? You had like the ability to do some pull-ups, push-ups, squats.
Yep.
There wasn't this high-tech, a trainer on a mirror in front of you and cables coming out and manual resistance style where you're getting, the concentric and eccentric, pressing hard and pulling hard. It didn't exist, and yet people were in better shape overall, right? Now we're getting in worse and worse and worse shape as more and more and more of these products come out. And the reason is, like Sam said, it doesn't motivate you. It doesn't make you show up the next day and then the next day because it's too easy not to press the power button, right? When I can sit there with a remote and press the power button on my TV,
Yep.
right? It's way, way, way too easy to do that. And so that's why, again, for 3 to 5% of people that are self-motivated, it can be a beautiful thing and a new toy. And like for me, I saw this boxing thing where you play a song and you punch as the different lights go out. I want to get it.
Yep.
I do. I don't know if I will, but I want to,
Yep.
because I enjoy that type of cardio. I don't enjoy running that much, and it might be a fun gamified way of me doing that.
Yep.
But that is not, if I wasn't consistently working out, I would never in my life think about spending the amount of money on that, because right now I know I'd use it,
Yep.
right? But if I wasn't working out every day, do I really know if I would use that every day or not? Or would I do one song and then call it,
Yep.
right? Now, if I'm buying an Oculus or something and it's a couple $100, but we're talking like, a couple $1,000,
Yep.
right? That's a big commitment. That's a full year at a gym,
Yeah.
right? With a coach keeping track of you and everything else. So it can have a place in the market, in my opinion, but like Sam said, it is absolutely not going to motivate you to stick with it. It's not going to create I shouldn't say that, actually, because I like to talk about the dichotomy of motivation
discipline.
versus discipline. It may create some motivation. It 100% will not create discipline.
Yeah, and motivation's temporary.
Motivation is temporary, which we'll talk about this in a different one, but motivation is a great thing to have, but discipline is a must.
Yeah.
And that goes for most things in life. But yeah, I don't know. I just find it interesting that we've gone from this, less or more archaic system of, kind of shitty iron weights and pull-up bars and calisthenics to really, really, really nice stuff and less healthy people.
I think it goes a lot with convenience culture.
Yeah.
And I think like anything that becomes, too convenient, especially in the beginning, it's hard to start. Like, I mean, think about starting a business. It's not typically the best way to start a business with like, spending all of this cash and doing all of these things. It's like, start it when it's, make it, be a little gritty about it.
Yeah.
And I think when you're a little gritty about it and you have to do it, it's going to create different habits and different things moving forward. When it's a pure convenience, that's where it gets a little difficult. And so I think to Chase's point, like, there wasn't this huge convenience of having everything at your fingertips or having this bike that's going to put this coach right in front of you. And so before you got to that point or before you felt, like you should spend money on those things, and even back in the day, if that was, getting a coach, you've learned these things. Now, I think, one of the differences to bridge that gap is what is going to create accountability and discipline. And this isn't everyone, but I would say a significant amount of more people can be much more accountable to another human being than a device or than something that's conveniently ready there, because, that's a different. And lastly, like, I'm not sure how convenient fitness is supposed to be. I think if you set your life up and you're, maybe you work in that blue collar, or you love doing, difficult projects around your house, or, things like that are going to make you move, more manual labor-esque. Like, cool, then I guess it can be very convenient because that's what you're going to have to do every day. But outside of that, if you have, your a job that a lot of us have, and it doesn't require exerting physical activity, like fitness isn't going to be convenient. Like it's not like there's a place where that's just built into like you have to do inconvenient things, to get new results. It's not, if it was that convenient and getting you those results, you would already have them. You would already be
Right.
doing them.
Yep.
And so I think sometimes this equipment creates an air of convenience, and it's like, oh, I can do that tomorrow. It's one reason we don't necessarily like, too many online workouts in our philosophy. I'm not saying there's something wrong with it, but it's like, oh, I'll do it later. Oh, I'll do it later. And then all of a sudden later comes and you're busy and you don't do it. Whereas if you have to come to your 6 a.m. that you sign up for, you lose the class, that inconvenience or that ability to lose the class is going to make you get up and go to there.
Even the act of getting in the car and having to drive there is huge. Like even people with like in a gym in their office, right? Even the idea of like, okay, I have to drive in and utilize it at a separate time than I'm doing everything else, right? To get home from work, set your stuff down. If you sit down for 1 second, you're done. You've lost. You're probably not going to get back up for the majority of us, right? And so that air of convenience is a very, very good point, I think, where it's health in general shouldn't be convenient. It's, I don't know, I brought this up, I think, the other day, but it was just like I was watching the NBA playoffs, and every single advertisement I saw was either booze or some sort of unhealthy food. That's convenient. If I can drive through and get food 3 times a day within 5 minutes, that's convenient, and there's a reason when we do that we feel less healthy. Convenience can be a beautiful thing in certain areas, and it can really, really hinder us or tarnish us in other areas.
Yeah, and I think some of my final thoughts on that and final thoughts on this topic is like, convenience has become consumerized. And I think, not to go too far down that rabbit hole, and we can definitely have a conversation on that, but like, when it's consumerized, it means like the convenience isn't built in now in our society to make people better. It's built in to make more money. And so what are we going to do to make more money? Now, you can make convenience work in your favor, but initially it's going to require changing a lot of things. If you're sitting there thinking that the things society makes convenient are the best for me, I think we really need to look at what society we're in. We're not saying this is for every culture. We're obviously speaking heavily to America and the United States. But what they've done is convenience is what sells, and then what else can they make convenient that's going to sell more? And so, while this is an awesome, innovative tool for convenience, and I, can be more successful, it also made other things more convenient, like distractions or things I don't need or things like that. While you can set food up to be convenient, you can make a regular delivery of really healthy food come to your house. Awesome use of convenience. Yeah. But as Chase said, that's not what's being advertised. Right. That's not what's being pushed, because in reality, what are we going to do if we get the addictive feeling of fatty foods and unhealthy things and all of those, and we make those more convenient? Yep. Well, now I'm going to consume significantly amount more of those because it's become consumerized. And so if we can take convenience and separate it from the consumerism and say, like, what should be more convenient that's going to benefit me? Yeah. There is ways to set it up. But if we just rely, well, this is so convenient, so it's good for me, I'm going to let you know that's not always the case by whoever's selling or pushing you that product or that thing that you want to do. And so that's just kind of my thoughts on how convenience has kind of been misconstrued. The pull-up bar in your house was awesome. It gave you a place to do pull-ups when you maybe didn't have another convenient way to do it. Yeah. But as this became more consumerized, we are meshing convenience and unhealthiness or addictive products and services and things. Even on our phone, again, computer in my pocket, incredible. If I'm disciplined enough, I can use this to my advantage. If I'm undisciplined, I can get stuck on TikTok for 4.5 hours, and I did absolutely nothing. Before, to waste time, I had to do dial-up and get on my computer, and then I could waste time on, AOL Messenger. It was less convenient. But what did they make convenient? The consumerized piece to that. And so I think there's always that double thing of why starting when it's a little bit inconvenient or less, will help you utilize convenience properly rather than have it be completely consumerized.
Yeah, right from the start, it's not going to play well.
Right.
Yep. And then my last piece before we kind of let you guys go is before you start any of it, before you start any routine or any of that, you got to kind of look yourself in the mirror and commit to yourself, right? You have to say, like, regardless of how I'm starting. Maybe it is I'm starting from zero and I have no idea what I enjoy. Maybe it is I'm just going to start moving every day. Maybe it is I'm going to do a completely regimented routine. Whatever that comes with, maybe I'm buying a Peloton or a mirror or whatever else. You can't just go into it without a plan, willy-nilly. It will not happen. You have to look yourself in the mirror. You have to commit to yourself first. I would say find an accountability buddy or an accountability coach or somebody that's going to help you, especially early on. Find your community, whether that be an online community or preferably in person, because that's how, you may not think it, but that's how most people will thrive best. And then you have to, I would say, write down your plan. Put it on paper. One of the coolest things that they made us do at Michigan State is we had a goal card. We had to leave it in our wallet. And if we didn't have it, of course, we were pushing a sled at 5 a.m. But we would write down 3 goals every single week, and we had to carry it around with us, so we saw it all the time. It was hugely impactful because we knew exactly what the mission was for the week. So I recommend doing that, especially early on. It will help you stick to it and put it in a place where you see it a lot.
Yep. And so, guys, just remember, fitness can be anything that you move, but it does require consistency and commitment to yourself.